You might have seen this already, but I recently upgraded to a brand new custom build system. Dubbed Shimanto, she is quite the powerful beast. Before that, the system I used for gaming and doing videos for this channel was this gaming laptop, a HP Victus that I called Kearsarge. The spec list of both are on screen right now. What I was curious about though was how big or small the improvement would be in games you care about. I'm skipping 1080p entirely since for the most part there's no point in testing such an easy resolution. Instead, I got a special 1440p 180Hz monitor, which is more along the lines of what people would play on with a semi-high setup. Now test at that resolution. Okay, time to put on my nerd cap for this. Quite a lot of the games are limited to only a 60 FPS cap, which makes testing games like Genshin quite pointless as it doesn't get intensive enough for either system. Thankfully, Starwell does have a way to obscenely cripple performance on lower end systems. I tested in 1440p at 3 resolution scales, 1.0, 1.4 and 2.0. Both systems cleared 1.0 resolution scaling with ease, so people with this GPU or even GTX 1650s are probably fine at native res. At 1.4 however, the 3050 in the Kearsarge does begin to struggle, not quite hitting 60 all the time, so be careful with occasions like Sparkle's Ultimate as it will drop further. There's no reason to push further to 2.0 resolution scale, but if you really want to max the game out, don't do it on the laptop. Average FPS of 29 is a substantial drop likely due to VRAM constraints. Shimanto fared better, but it was using much more power to retain the same frame rate. Only use this technique for screenshots. Things get much quirkier moving to the next game, Withering Waves. This game has a higher frame limit of 120 FPS, but for some reason, color games restrict it to certain hardware configurations, so if the desktop can do 120 frames per second, the laptop cannot. Arbitrary framing caps aside, another unique thing about this game is that it features multiple temporal upscalers like FSR and DLSS, which I'll briefly look at. At 1440p, the laptop will probably need it. It couldn't quite hit the 60 FPS limit at these settings. Perhaps a higher power limit could make it hit 60 in busier areas. The game also had some stutter on both systems, which I put down to Unreal Engine weirdness rather than the performance of either. The laptop does have an ace up its sleeve though, DLSS. For whatever reason, you only have the option to turn FSR on or off. There's no adjustment to the scaling. With DLSS, you get all the standard scaling presets, and at quality DLSS, you can easily hit 60 FPS on the laptop, but it still unfortunately stutters. The desktop didn't remain at 120 FPS all the time either, and it stutters both 1% to 61. Since I can't pinpoint the cause of those, I'd say just deal with them when they pop up, unfortunately. Thankfully, Zenless Zone Zero doesn't have as much arbitrariness by comparison. It is the only game here to have a fully uncapped frame rate option, which is system agnostic on PC. For a game like this, I would prefer to have high frame rates for smoother combat, so I tested at 1440p high and medium settings on each. Surprisingly, the desktop could only barely get 100 FPS on average, with dips as low as 50. That put about 2 times ahead of the laptop, which was honestly a mess at this resolution. You could lock it at 30 FPS, but the game uses a lot of fluidity at lower frame rates and it doesn't feel great. Dropping to medium didn't do much for the desktop. While the average was slightly higher, the lows were still lower than I'd like. The laptop luckily was much better, with 71 frames on average and meh 30 FPS 1% lows. Dropping the resolution to 1080p is probably required on both for 144 FPS plus. Though on the laptop, I did find that I quickly became CPU bound instead at around 130 FPS. I imagine quite a few of you skipped to this portion of the video. Did you see a smiling Shimanto? If not, go back and find it. As you can see, Shimanto clearly wipes the floor of Kearsarge by up to 2 times in quite a few situations. That's great, but it also costs around twice as much. For those who commented the usual complaints before watching the whole video, this message is for you. If all you play on PC are games like Genshin, Starwell or Snowbreak, you do not need this level of power. Even if you own a QHD monitor, there are certainly configurations that better achieve a comparable experience for less. It's only in games like Riven Race or Zen 0 where the extra expense starts to justify itself, as well as of course dozens of other paid games. And there's always the chance that the game is just a crapshoot in performance regardless of what hardware you have. Think of it like this. There's a new limited banner character that has a leash similar to one that you already have, but with some improvements, aka power creep. You are free to skip the banner and be happy with what you already have, but those with the money and luck can decide that yes, they want the upgraded character. Said upgraded character may have more use cases in different scenarios, but not in a way that invalidates FTP or economy options. The scale of free to play up to rails can be applied here. There are those that cling onto the E0 blade like they cling onto an old gaming laptop from the university until it breaks. And then there are those that are maxed out their Robin at E6 S5 and rock RTX 4090s, ready to splash out as soon as the new best arrives. Then there's everyone else in between. That's you, your friends, and I. Of course, there is always more as to why people buy and or build expensive systems like Shimanto. In part 2, which will be on my secondary channel, I'll show off more comparative data and go into detail as to benefits of upgrading for me. Subscribe to both channels to get notified when that drops. The story isn't over just yet.